Chronicle Live. Greg.
All right, Maddie, the Vikings are going to play Dallas in a matchup of 1 and 3 football teams, surprisingly. But that, amazingly, is not the biggest problem Brett Favre has. Or maybe it is. His football team's not winning. But we mix sports and the law every Thursday on Chronicle Live. We brought Steve Moskowitz in to get into the sexting escapades of the Minnesota Vikings quarterback, Jen Sturger, who was a buxom young lady. We've got to know her a little bit, hanging around a Florida State football game. She went to work doing some shoots for Maxim magazine and Playboy magazine for a short time. She worked for the New York Jets when Brett Favre was the quarterback of the New York Jets, and he may have sent some very inappropriate material to her via his phone and text messaging. First of all, can we prove that just because a message comes up on a phone, that it's from this phone number, that it was actually sent from that person? I mean, technologically, things could go haywire. How do you prove that Brett Favre actually had the phone out and took the picture and sent it to her?
First thing, you could ask him, but if he said, I don't want to talk about it,
right,
then you take a look at the electronics. The problem is there's so many electronic devices now to mask things and make it look like another number. So there may be some technical issues there, because I don't know if he sent it or somebody else sent it. So that we'd have to turn to. And actually, what would happen if something like that went to trial, both sides would call the experts, and the technical people would come in and say, here's how you do it, and the other one would say, and here's how you get around it. It's called the battle of the experts, and then somebody decides.
All right, apparently what happened, according to the story in Deadspin, he was sending her some inappropriate voicemails, a couple of them, and then he took a picture of his penis on his telephone, and he sent it to her electronically, which brings up all kinds of things. You know the commissioner of the NFL from the Roethlisberger deal. He's investigating it. Just from the league side of it, do you think he's facing a possible suspension for his acts?
First, at this moment, we don't know if Brett did that or not. But let's just say, if he did, then I would think it's very certain that the commissioner would discipline him for inappropriate behavior, the morals clause in the contract. There's some real problem there. He's bringing some attention to the team that they really don't want. So there's a business problem.
All right, the other side of it is legally, which we always seek your expertise. I mean, it's kind of like flashing to me. I mean, is this a crime? What Brett Favre did, sending a picture of his genitals to a young lady, is that by itself a violation of the law?
It's different than flashing, because flashing is live and in person. It's a person-to-person. And here it's difficult because the prosecutors themselves are struggling with this. We take a look at federal laws, we take a look at state laws. You know, what's okay in one state is not okay in another state. And sometimes the federal laws will look at what does the local state law in that area do. And then we have adults. Do we have consenting adults? Because again, I don't know what happened there. I don't know was something invited or not. None of us know at this point. So there's a bunch of tough issues in here.
The law is based on precedent, what happened previously, and I don't know if there is.
If there is some.
Kanye West, actually, a story today is that he did a very similar thing to several women on MySpace. So I don't know how it all works, but this is a little bit uncharted territory. I guess the question is the Internet and texting and all the electronics we have available today the same as doing something like flashing? If you flashed a young lady, you know, out jogging, that's a crime. You're going to go to jail for that. I mean,
clearly.
Is it transmitting the same message through a different mechanism still a crime, I guess is the question.
It's different because it's not in person. But again, the prosecutors are struggling here. It's a relatively new area. An awful lot of people are doing this. And again, you look at state laws, you look at federal laws, you look at something called public policy. What's the government trying to do? And again, was this something with consenting adults? So right now, there's an awful lot of facts that we just don't know.
All right, real quickly, if you were advising Brett Favre, you cooperate here, tell the truth, and try to have the sentence mitigated, just tell him whatever happened as accurately as you can?
Well, as an attorney, if you're going to speak, you always tell the truth, and then you decide what type of deal is being offered, what does he have to say, and what happened.
All right. Brett Favre of the National Football League, of course, giving the league a bad blight to one of the premier stars in the history of the league. Steve, thanks for your insight.
My pleasure.
One of the premier stars of the history of the Arena Football League is head coach Darren Arbett, the three-time Arena League champions. They are back. We broke that story back in June.